There's a story, one that so many of us know, but we just don't really talk about it. It's the story of the kid who had to grow up way, way too fast. And today we're going to dive into that really personal and honestly often overlooked experience.
Wow, that really hits home, doesn't it? It just perfectly captures this quiet reality for so many people. A childhood that wasn't really about playing and being a kid, but more about taking on responsibilities way too soon. And yeah, that's exactly what we're going to unpack together. Okay, so to really get this, we need to look at what makes this experience what it is. I mean, what does it actually mean to be that kid who just wasn't allowed to, be a kid?
And this is so much more than just being good at reading people. For these kids, learning to read faces, to guess what mood someone was in, that wasn't some kind of party trick. No way. It was a survival skill. It was how they got through a world that felt completely unpredictable, just trying to keep things calm.
Right, and a huge part of reading the room was figuring out what you absolutely could not show. They learned really fast that their own feelings, being sad or scared, were just a burden to everyone else. So they just stuffed it all down. And that's when the idea that my needs don't matter really takes root.
And this creates this huge gap, right? They get really good at performing, at pretending everything is okay. They put on this brave, I've got this face for the whole world. But on the inside, they're completely overwhelmed and totally, utterly alone.
And what all this leads to is this total role reversal. They basically step into the shoes of the adults who were struggling and they become the comforters. Can you imagine? They're the little shoulder to cry on, the tiny pillar of strength, giving out the exact same comfort they needed so badly themselves. But here's the thing. All that strength, all that maturity, it didn't just appear out of nowhere. It came with a cost, a really high and often hidden emotional price. And this is where it gets kinda twisted. The irony is just cruel. These very behaviors, the ones that came from a really tough, unstable childhood, were the same things the world praised them for. Teachers, family, friends, they'd all say how mature they were, but they never saw the fire that forged that maturity. I mean, we've all heard this stuff, right? And look, it's almost always meant to be nice. But for this kid, every single one of those compliments was just another brick in the wall. It reinforced this idea that their worth, their value, came from being strong and responsible. Basically, from not being a kid.
And this is the question nobody ever seemed to ask. At what cost? I mean, really, what did you have to give up to become so responsible, so young? Just asking that one question, it changes the whole picture.
And yeah, that cost, it doesn't just go away when you grow up. Those patterns you learn as a kid, they echo loudly all through your adult life. They shape your relationships, your job, how you even see yourself in the mirror.
I mean, think about it. If you learned from day one that you were on your own, that help just wasn't coming, how on earth are you supposed to learn to ask for it when you're an adult? It's like self-reliance becomes this fortress you build around yourself, and it's so, so hard to walk out of. This right here, this is the belief at the very center of it all. It's like the operating system that's always running in the background. It's this deep, deep fear that if you show any weakness, any vulnerability, everything will just fall apart. Because when you were a kid, it probably felt like it would. And you see this pattern play out in relationships all the time. They end up with people who need saving, right? They just fall back into that old caretaker role. And why? Well, because it's familiar. It's what they know. And on some level, it's this attempt to fix someone else so they can maybe finally fix themselves. Okay, but what if healing isn't about getting even stronger or about saving just one more person? What if the real path is something totally different, something a lot more gentle? This is such a game changer. I mean, for a person who has spent their entire life being the strong one, the actual work, the real healing, is in the complete opposite direction. It's about finally letting yourself be vulnerable, the one thing you were never allowed to be. So what does that even look like? Well, it's actually pretty simple. It's about the most basic human things. It means letting yourself cry and not feeling ashamed about it. It means letting someone else be strong for you for a change, to just hold you. And it means being seen, like really seen. Not the strong mask you've been wearing, but the real you underneath. And that brings us to the end. And this is maybe the most important part of this whole thing. This is a message for anyone out there who's listening to this and thinking, that's me.
It's just 2 words, but they are so powerful. This is the thing that little kid inside has been waiting their whole life to hear. It's someone finally looking at you and recognizing how hard it was, how much effort it took just to keep it all from falling apart. You did well. And right after that validation comes permission. Permission to finally put down that heavy weight you've been carrying. And I'm not just talking about getting a good night's sleep. This is about deep emotional rest. Permission to stop being the strong one, to let your shoulders drop, to exhale. Permission to just be. So, we're going to leave you with this. Seeing the patterns, understanding what it cost you, that's a huge first step. But the next question isn't about what happened back then. It's about right now. It's about the future. So the question is, where does your story begin to heal?